What do you see when you look at this photo? Would you even take a second glance at it? Well, according to the New York Times, they came out 70 years ago with a phrase saying, "Is God dead?" Now, ever since then, well, if you look back here, you see that it's gone down. Over the past 70 years, we have lost at least 15% of people who even believe that there is a God. So, in order to prove that there is a God, I want to put him on trial. I want to have you as the judges, me as the defendant, and the world as the prosecutor. But I'm going to bring up 3 witnesses. First one is Lee Strobel, and he was going to talk about the history of God, the prophecies, all of it. Next, we're going to bring up Richard Dawkins, and he's going to ask all the questions that we all have, that we've all asked. And to dispute these questions and even answer some of them, we're going to have Frederick Descosby, and he's just going to explain everything they need to know about him. And so, beginning with Lee Strobel, we find out that he is a Christian author. He's written several different books. And he's going to talk about prophecy. One of them is back in 1701, where the Assyrians were taking over everything around Israel. And according to the fulfilling biblical prophecies by Lee Strobel, there was a man named Isaiah who prayed to God and said, "God, what is happening here? Why are people taking over this land?" And in 2 Kings, this is God's answer. He says, "I will not let anybody come into this land. Not even a single person, not arrow, no nothing." And the next day, all the Assyrians were dead. Another thing, later in life, everybody knows of Albert Einstein. All of his theories, everything. But did it ever occur to you that all of his theories led to one power, one source? What could that mean? Well, continuing on, if you go back in Micah 5:2, which is in the Old Testament, the prophet Luke, who is a physician, wrote to the Syrians, which is a Christian group, and said exactly what Jesus was going to do before he was even born. And God fulfilled every one of those things that was written back in Micah. This is before he even existed. Now I want to bring something up to you. There's over 2,000 prophecies that are in the Bible, and some of them have not even been fulfilled. But Jesus, when he was on the earth, fulfilled over 400 of these prophecies, which a Christian college did a study, and it said that the possibility of one of us, anybody in this room, fulfilling even 8 of those is 1 in the 10th to the 17th power. To put that into perspective, it's like taking Texas and making it into two deaths of it filled with silver, the whole thing. And then having a blind person find a dollar bill in that. That's basically impossible. But Jesus Christ fulfilled 400, and we can't even do 8. Now that you've heard a lot of the history of Christ, of God, let's go to Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins is an evolutionist, doesn't believe that there is a God. He says in this book that God is just a delusion, that he can't exist. And these are his questions. One of the most ones that's ever said is, where does he come from? If God is real, then why do bad things happen to us? Can he really forgive us of all the things we've done? Are we even worth saving? and the one that struggles with each and every one of us here, is if we do believe there's a God and our peers and our family members just say, well, I'm going to disown you now. Should we even believe that there even is a God? But the one I really want us to focus on, the one that each and every one of us has asked at least one time in our lifetimes, is if God created the universe, which is stated by Richard Dawkins in his book, that if God created the universe, then who created God? Well, the thing is when we put Fyodor Dostoevsky on the stand, he tries to answer this question. Now, he is a novelist. He's also a philosopher. And to answer this, he says, if we know everything about God, where it came from, all of that, it's like me looking at everyone in this room and saying, I know everything about you. Your past, what you're going to do, I know everything. But if we didn't know everything about each other, then what's the point? Life would be boring. It's good to adventure. It's good to have new plans. And if we know everything, even where he comes from, then where's the mystery? Why would we even have these thoughts? Why would we believe there's a God? Why would he be so powerful if we knew everything about him? It's kind of like it's kind of like the most famous question besides the existence of God is the one that I asked earlier. And that was like, God is real. Then why is there bad things? Why do we go through trials? And why do we fail? And this is one of the answers. If we say, God, I will pray to you 10 times. I will even pray for you for a year if you let me ace this test. If you allow me to heal a person, if you do this, do that. But do we ever follow through? Do we ever pray to God 10 times over a year? We are abandoning God and we expect him to help us? Why should he help us? Why? If we're not going to obey his will. He set laws in place. The Bible does that. Our laws that we have for the billions of years has stated that stealing, murdering, all that's wrong, but we're doing it. And also, why should he help us if we're going to curse his name? We all say, oh my God, Jesus Christ. But isn't that cursing him? Do you want us cursing each other? What's the point? Well, in the movie Do You Believe? It says that you can say that you're something. You can say, I'm a pastor. But what are you going to do with that? You can say, I'm good at XYZ, but what are you going to do? And the last thing that I want to leave you with, that Fyodor Dostoevsky says, if God is dead, then everything is permissible. Now, you guys have heard all that I've said. You've heard the history with Lee Strobel. You've heard the questions that have been asked by several different people that Richard Dawkins has stated and has even said himself. But you also heard the disputes by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Now, I want to leave you with one last thing, one last quote from God's Not Dead. And it's one of the main characters that's in the movie. And he asks his mom, he was just like, you are a perfect person. You did all of these good things. But you have dementia. I'm a bad person, and I have an amazing job. And his mom answers, saying that sometimes the devil makes your life seem perfect. And it's like you're in a jail cell. The door is wide open, but you think your life is perfect, so why should you get out of it? What's the point? Well, one day the door shuts, and you have nothing. Absolutely nothing. So now, my judges, the people, the world says that God's not real because we can't see him. But that's not the question you should be asking. I can say that air, you can't see air. How do we know it's even there? So judges, my last question for you is God really dead? Thank you for your time.